their horse will be key to bringing home the victory. Youth is the heartbeat of our sport, and series such as the FEI Jumping Nations Cup Youth represent a unique opportunity for our rising stars to gain standing and can open the doors to future representation on the international senior circuit. It is thanks to the continuous efforts of organizers such as Mike Hazenbroek and his team, as well as all the volunteers, officials and sponsors, that we are able to keep our sport moving forward. To all the nations present here, the athletes, their families and support systems, we wish you a fantastic final day and the best of luck during the FEI Jumping Nations Cup Pony Final 2024.
Se la pasan diciendo que soy mala, porque no me aguanto la malandra. Dime si vienes a mi cama.
Wel, signaal van de jury heeft geluid. Ter betekenis van het einde van de parcoursverkenning. Course is closed for inspection. La piste est fermée à la reconnaissance. The arena is closed by our judges for the FEI Jumping Nations Cup Final for Ponies 2024. Welkom bij Azelhof Force Events hier in Lier. Voor de laatste dag van de FEI Jumping Nations Cup Youth Finale 2024. Met veel enthousiasme kijken we naar uit om vandaag de toekomstige generatie atleten hun talent en teamspirit te zien tonen in de Children, Junioren, Young Riders en Ponies finales. 9 kwalificatiewedstrijden tijdens het seizoen en 2 kwalificatiewedstrijden op donderdag en vrijdag hebben de weg vrijgemaakt voor de beste jeugdteams om te strijden voor nationale glorie in de finale. Teamwork en de unieke band die elke atleet met zijn paard heeft opgebouwd zullen de sleutel zijn om de overwinning mee naar huis te nemen. Jeugd is de hartslag van onze sport en series zoals de FEI Jumping Nations Cup Youth zijn een unieke kans voor onze reizende sterren om zich te onderscheiden en kunnen de deur openen naar toekomstige vertegenwoordiging in het internationale senior circuit. Het is dankzij de voortdurende inspanningen van organisatoren zoals Mike Hazenbroek en zijn team, vrijwilligers, officials en sponsors dat we onze sport vooruit kunnen helpen. Aan alle landen die hier aanwezig zijn, de atleten, hun families en ondersteuning. We wensen een geweldige finale dag aan hen en heel veel succes tijdens de FEI Jumping Nations Cup finale voor Ponies 2024. 9 qualifiers during the season and 2 qualifying competitions on Thursday and Friday have paved the road for the best youth teams to battle it out for national glory in the finals. Teamwork and the unique bond each athlete has established with their horse will be key to bringing home the victory. Youth is the heartbeat of our sport, and series such as the FEI Jumping Nations Cup Youth represent a unique opportunity for our rising stars to gain standing and can open the doors to future representation on the international senior circuits. To all the nations present here in the final of the FEI Jumping Nations Cup, the very best of luck. The very best of luck and a fantastic final day during the FEI Jumping Nations Cup Youth 2024.
Welcome along, everybody. Delighted to have you with us live here on FEI TV. We are set for the final now of this FEI Jumping Nations Cup Youth Final for the Ponies. We have 8 teams coming forward, and this is what has been building to over an amazing summer of Nations Cup competitions that's seen us from Belgium to France to Austria, Norway, Italy, Netherlands and Germany, back into Belgium for the final. It has been 7 brilliant Nations Cups over the season. We've seen 2 cracking opening day qualifying competitions, and now we're set for the final. Italy, Switzerland, Denmark, Sweden, Ireland, Belgium, Great Britain and the Netherlands coming forward, and as it stands the Dutch are in the lead. The difference with the Ponies is all 8 teams have come through, and therefore they've carried the faults over from the opening couple of days. So the Dutch on a clear, the only team on a 0, Great Britain on 1 penalty just behind them, Belgium in third on 4, Ireland on 6, Sweden 13, Denmark 16, Switzerland 24 and the Italians on 30. And it's Italy that will start things off with. Vittoria Sofia Rotolo round this course with Anquia de Lalonde. Time allowed for your reference is set at 79 seconds over this 1 metre 30 track, and sadly it's not got any better for the Italians as the first fence has gone down. It's going to be a tough road for them. In the event of equality for faults at the end of this round, for the win, there could be a jump off.
Dan over de laatste hindernis, de ronde van Vainqueur de la Lande en Vittoria Sofia Rotolo per Italia for Italy, score of 16. In this round, the time of 77.53, tijd van 77.53 met 16 voor de Italiaanse combinatie hier voor Vittoria Sofia Rotolo per Italia voor l'Italie. Tweede team dan nu. Second team is Team Switzerland with chef d'équipe Cornelia Notz. Team Switzerland starting with 24 points from the previous days. It is their first combination. Eerste combinatie in de baan voor Team Zwitserland, dames en heren. Maar eerst en vooral naar Team Denemarken. Eerst en vooral naar deze Park Icon. We gaan naar Palma Sophie.
Well, the first of our Italian riders, apologies there, just a little bit of a sound issue. My end, Vittoria finishing on a total of 16. So we've got all that fixed so we can keep moving forward. I should also mention that the Swiss team today, when we get to them, have a team of 3. So although they would be next, we're now actually going to move on to Denmark. Palmer, Sophie Gray, Jensen Christiansen. This is Park Icon. She's done a great job so far. Fortunately, that goes down, which is such a shame for these two, having been jumping so well. They did over a fence yesterday, but they have already put a clear on the board. To remind you, the Danish team on 16 prior to the start of today. Tricky little fence coming from the plank down there. It narrows in quite considerably at the last. So as you can see, for the moment, they, for today at least, can stay with the hope of finishing on that score of 16, because it's a 4 to start things off. So, well inside in terms of the time. We're not having any issues there. I didn't think we would. So next up will be Sweden. It's amazing in the way that it's worked out over 2 rounds that not a single team has come into today level with another team. They've all got these small differences between them up and down the order. 13 was the score after 2 days for Sweden, which means we now move on to Selma Gustafsson and Baravali Shadow. These two jumping clear on day 1, but did pick up a 4 yesterday. The Dutch, who lead coming into today, have never won this pony title. Already the Dutch have won the children's title this morning. In fact, interestingly, when I look back at the history, the only 2 nations to have won the pony title is Ireland or Great Britain. Ireland 4 times, Great Britain twice. And Ireland will be hoping to defend the title. They've had a cracking run on the league through the season. Although Sweden did pretty well in Austria. The Swedish Nations Cup team coming out victorious there. There we go, we get the clear round and it goes to Sweden, showing exactly how to do it. Selma Gustafsson there has delivered to really keep them in the hunt. Because of that sort of differentiation, and when I say that, it's because of the time penalties that have been playing into the equation. As I say, you've got a clear, a 1, a 4, a 6, and Sweden there on 13, Denmark on 16. You know, a few fences falling in the wrong direction. The likes of Sweden on 13 stand a good chance of perhaps moving up towards a podium. They certainly want to be moving in a forward direction, and with that clear, they have really put themselves in a strong place to do that. But it's about putting pressure on teams that are to follow, and that team is the defending champions here at the FEI Jumping Nations Cup for Youth Pony Final. It is the Irish team who beat the Dutch last year. Ireland, as I said, they have won it 4 times since 2018. What can they do? They start on a score of 6, and this is Shinarip riding Fernando. Didn't have the easiest first day, which was a little bit out of character for these two, but bounced back much more to the form we would have expected with that lovely clear round on the second day. Brilliant for Ireland, as the team can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief knowing that they have also delivered on that clear. And again, from Ireland's perspective, less than 2 fences off the lead. they certainly are in the hunt for a win potentially here today. As I said, once you've got your clear, you know you've put a little bit of pressure on those that are still to come. Well, the next team on the list will be Belgium. They are literally one fence off the lead because they sit on a combined score of 4 over the opening 2 days and qualifying competitions. The home team will be hoping for more than third where they currently sit. Clementine Lux to start things off for Belgium. A lovely couple of rounds so far with clear on both occasions. Nice big jump over the water, but that 4 penalties coming out of the double. Showing you just how easy it's going to be for things to potentially turn. Picked up another 4. And 4 more. Well, it's a total of 12. Belgium will need to make sure they keep that away from their scorecard if they're going to stay on the podium here today, but 12 it is for the home nation. Looking for a big result here at home. Well, the next to go, the team that sit in second after the opening couple of days, it is the British team. They found themselves 1 penalty adrift of the Dutch. Time penalty putting them in a little bit of a disadvantage after what has been some tremendous performances from the team. Holly Gherkin the first up with Galaxy. Strong combination at the Europeans in Centaur this year, where they both were part of the gold medal for the team and finished 4th individually. Holly has led the British team out on both occasions in the qualifiers here at the finals. Jumping clear both days. Ended up a little bit close, and that front rail is down, so coming back up towards the top of this arena and then down this final line. One small moment, and down goes one fence. Bad luck, Holly Kirkin, and her ride Galaxy. So 4 the score for the first of the British team, but of course there's still 3 to come. We'll see what happens next, but it definitely has allowed Sweden and Ireland now a little bit of an advantage in terms of just having those clears, knowing the 2 after them have both faltered in some way. But now comes to the key round, because it is for the Netherlands, the Dutch, who, to say, runners up here last year, try to win in the Ponies for the first time, already with the children's title theirs here. It's going to be Bethany Voss that gets things underway. Bethany, who jumped clear on day one but did have a fence down yesterday. That was the discard score. When I say yesterday, I mean Friday. The Netherlands, the only team to start today on a 0 score. Problems coming early, bigger problems to follow. That really knocked them off balance as well, with the wall going down, and of course that meant there was no way they could keep moving on a stride to take on the double. Most importantly, they've stayed in the saddle, but 8 at the moment. I mean, Bethany's done a great job just to keep her composure. I mean, it was a quick bit of thinking, didn't try and take the double on. She knew she couldn't do that. Took a circle, recovered, and continues. To remind you, the time, though, is 79 seconds, so time penalties will come into play any second now. Well, it had been going rather well. Unfortunately for the Dutch team, it hasn't started well in the final. Bethany Vos on a score of 23 will now be relying on her teammates, and that, of course, when you've got a big discard score, the problem comes is that you could get a couple of clears from your next 2 riders. So could the British team, for instance. But the problem comes then if with your final rider, you know, for instance, just having a 4 as a discard means, of course, you're only going to add 4 on, no matter how that round then goes. Whereas if you're in the Dutch's position and the last to go in that situation was having 3 down, then of course you're going to have the 12 because you're sitting there the 23 that you're holding off the card. That's for later. Now it's for Italy. Sadly, the minions bringing everything to a halt. And the fence will be rebuilt. 6 seconds to be added into the clock. So again, time is likely to become a factor, but more importantly, it's just about calming the pony down, getting reset, and deciding whether they wish to continue. This is Rachel Zendrini and Lacoste. Had a bad show. I mean, they dropped 4 on day 1 and 8 yesterday. They just found themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time with their striding coming down to fence 2. A little bit quick. It's certainly a very energetic pony. I mean, full marks to the course designer. I think Henlanders has got them. It's been brilliant all week. Prank's gone as well. Get over the last time penalties and all 22. But they're holding off as a discard for the moment, but it does, as you can see, move the score on to a best potential outcome now with that of 52.
Voor de tweede combinatie van de Italiaanse ploeg in de finale van de landenprijs voor Ponies.
So the Italians not having the rub of the green in any way, shape or form, unfortunately just isn't working for them. Right, we bring the Swiss team into play now, a team that started on a score of 24. All scores count for this team of 3, starting with Jordan Sherukov and Parko Vanti-Hollandhoff. They started with a team of 4 on the first qualifying day. In fact, these two jumped clear that day. Sadly, these two had 12 on the second day. They had to retire one of the horses, and that horse actually now not coming in today, just been left to a team of 3. That wall is, I mean, it's one of those that just sort of stand there. There's no wings. You've just got the 2 trees either side. It's quite an open wall. In fact, you know, it's really noticeable in the modern sport. It's not going to please these two, but it's really noticeable in the modern sport how walls nowadays are far more open, far more gappy, and then you get planks. When the course designers build a solid set of planks, they really are solid like we have here, and you get that sort of almost a wall effect. But sadly for the Swiss, that elimination, of course, cost the team the ability to record a score here today. So unable to go any further for Switzerland. Really bad luck to them. It's just, again, been a difficult week with the circumstances that has been dealt to them in the Ponies. Now, though, for Sweden, no, let's not go to Sweden. Let's go to Denmark. The Danish team, who have started off today with a score of 4 from their opening combination. Palmer, Sophie Gray, Jansen Christiansen. Now the turn of Frederik Hoffmann Koningsveld, riding Kingdom Connie. 16 the score overall for the team. These two have in fact jumped for 8 on both days. Second fence down again, getting quite quick at the beginning. Well, that brings them up to 20 with 3 still to jump. The Danish team will move on to a team total of 20, counting the 4 they already had recorded. .28 is the final total for the second of the riders from Denmark. So 20 the team total when you add in from the other day. So Still 2 to go for the Danish team. Next to go will be the Swedish team, who have started off with that very strong clear round from Selma. And that, of course, is giving them the advantage in these early stages of being able to try to stay on that 13 that they scored, which is, of course, just over 3 fences from the lead, but is exactly 3 fences off second. And with only Sweden and Ireland having recorded clears, it's going to be interesting to see how this all begins to unfold. So here we go. Over on the, well, in the middle of the arena there should be Numiskub, Russen and Gorn as their second partnership for Sweden. The jump for a single time penalty on the opening day and jump for 4 yesterday. It's going to be fascinating to see which way. At the moment, you sort of sit here at this moment and think any of the 5 teams realistically, depending how the next few rounds go, could still be pushing for a win. There isn't any question that the advantage still lies with the Netherlands, despite the 23 recorded by their first rider, because they can just keep jumping clears to win it. What is Sweden going to do? 1 clear already from Selma, Gustav and Thielen. Now Numi, Skorossen and Gorm. See the way the pony backed off coming around the corner. It has left her quite a lot to do. She'll need to be a little bit careful here. She's on the 4, that makes 8. She was sort of left with very little choice but to ride forward to the distance. So that'll move. Well, it won't affect anything at the moment because they can hold this as a discard. There's the advantage used up for Sweden of that clear. Well, they finish on a total of 8 for the moment. As I've said, though, they will, as you can see on the scoreboard there, remain on a best potential outcome of 13. And that was Nimi Skorossen for Sweden, but they've got the 0 score from their first to go. But it's down to the final 2, Caroline and Victoria. So we've seen 4 teams, 4 more to go in this second rotation of riders, and it's the second time today we're going to see Charlie Flynn. He's already been on the Irish team in the children's class that stood in 3rd on the podium, and he was, of course, individually 4th at the Children's Europeans this year on Ilia. He's now riding HK Xena, though. This is Pony. Part of the podium finish in France with the pony back in April. His first season with this pony. He's got a pretty solid record. Oh, time is good just as well. Superb round of jumping, clear round of jumping. Charlie Flynn and Ireland are really pushing on. The team that looked to defend the title in the Ponies and try to lift the title for the 5th time since 2018 are really going strongly, and they may well have arrived in the final round in 4th on a score of 6, but they're pretty determined that it's going to stay like that, certainly when it comes to the score. But I cannot see that they're not somehow going to push their way up into the podium places, and I would suggest with the way they're going, depending on what happens over the next 3 rounds, they could be pushing towards the top. We will see. This then is Eloise Thiron, Dance Floor de Coroy. This is Belgium's chance for the home team. What are they able to do? The team who started today in 3rd on a score of 4, but already now have a 12 penalty discard. Eloise jumped for 4 both days. They come 3 fences, and this keeps Belgium very much in play. They do need a clear here, and so far so good for Eloise Thiron. Got a bit deep, but boy does this pony bounce off the floor. Brilliantly done. Belgium are certainly not going to let this slide if they can help it, and that is going to keep things nice and tight at the top with the way it's currently standing. So Belgium with the clear could yet still finish where they started on a score of 4, and that very much puts the pressure now on Great Britain and of course on the Netherlands as well. Every time the pressure just seems to mount on the next rider to go. What about these two? The second out in Claire Whitaker's British team that are on that 1 penalty score starting today, 1 penalty behind the lead. The British now with Sophia Rogers and Neil 55, part of the gold medal winning team this year. Of course, the British who have first started with a score of 4 from Holly Gherkin. Outside of Ireland, the British are the only other team to have won this title. They've done so twice, 2022 and 2019. All season, those two have been a solid partnership, absolute backbone of the team, and it is a clear yet again for Sophia Rogers for the British team. That is exactly what they will have all been hoping for, because again it keeps them where they started on a best potential outcome of 1. holding the 4 as the discard. But now, from Great Britain, of course, still could finish on 1, and Belgium on 4. Of course, Ireland still have the strength of having the 2 clears, putting them in a unique position. But this is all important for the Netherlands, who came unstuck with Bethany Voss's round, that score of 23, after what had been 2 days of 0 scores for the Dutch. Now it's the turn of their second rider, Louis Wilschot. And, well, you know, as much as they've been clear over the last couple of days, we've seen how things can change so easily in this final round. But this now is, you know, got to be 3 faultless rounds from the Netherlands to keep it in their own hands and not be relying on what others do. Ooh, got deep to the wall. How does she recover? Just like that. Really well done. Has that gone? It has gone. There's a change in the order. Again, of course, with that big discard, the problem is this whole score is going to count. Suddenly, from leading the way coming into today, the Netherlands, now on a recorded score of 8, drop down into 4th place. So it's suddenly out of their hands. They're now relying on others rather than what they can do themselves. They still have to perform to finish on the 8. They're going to need 2 more clear rounds. But the leading team now, the team that has it in its own hands, the pressure in that respect moves to the British team, because with 2 clears from Great Britain, they cannot be beaten if they get their 2 extra clears. Belgium on a score of 4, also obviously in that strong position. But bizarrely, in my mind, that 6 from Ireland is looking even better because of the 2 clears the Irish have got alongside it. So we're halfway through. Let's go back to the beginning, to the Italian team. Maria Rivera Calax does it as the number 3 out for Ireland. The score is 8. There was a foot in the water as well. Unfortunately, the last falls as well, so it becomes 12, and as you can see, that pushes them onto a score of 64 across 3 rounds of jumping for the Italian team. So Italy not getting any luck so far today. Well, we're going to move. I'm just not sure. I don't think we'll see the next 2 from Switzerland. I wouldn't be surprised if we did, because the team are eliminated. So maybe I wonder, perhaps they still would obviously like to jump. So we are indeed going to see them. Vittoria Beck and Valero de Triplin. First fence goes down. $20 at the end for the Swiss rider there, but as I said, it doesn't affect the result of the team due to that unfortunate elimination. So that was Victoria Beck and Bolero de Pin. So the next up will be the Danish team, who start with their third rider on a best potential outcome of 20, but the discard they're holding is a 28. So Silly Hastringham Nielsen is going to be next.
With Sille Hartvig Nielsen for Team Denmark.
Danish team will be hoping to add no more. These two have both had 4 on each day. We can keep it to 20, and keeping themselves in touching distance of something happening above them. Clear round would certainly be very helpful right about now. That wall has become a little bit tricky today, hasn't it? Unfortunately for the Danish team, not only does it eliminate that rider of Silly Hastringham Nielsen, but it adds the 28 into the score, and suddenly 48. So the Danish team very much falling away, still for the moment holding on to 6th place, but with little hope of being able to get any higher now. So bad luck Denmark, which means next up is Sweden. Sweden, of course, starting today in 5th place on a score of 13 as a sort of outside bet at trying to get to the podium. They're still on a best potential outcome of 13. They're now holding an 8 penalty score as a discard. They've had that one clear, the Swedish team, that coming from their opening rider Selma Gusten Thielen. Now the turn of Caroline and Carona, riding Muir's to Toft Garden. So what's the third going to do for Sweden? They didn't have the easiest day on day 1 or yesterday, but that means nothing because we've seen combinations that have gone well over the last few days not go so well today, and vice versa. So it's all about what does this work out for Team Sweden. We'll see if they bring the 8 into play, they'll go up to a score of 21. This pony's got a lovely look. Sweden moving on to 17. Now they have to count that. It is the 21. That moves into the discard slot on a total of 12 and 21 for the team there for Sweden. So again, starting to see gaps opening up with the third rotation of riders. It's certainly, at the moment, dropping teams out of contention rather than bringing them into contention. But we have got the top 4 teams all separated at the moment by just 7 penalties. So less than 2 fences separating 4 teams. Without question, at the moment, the British team have the advantage because they have that 1 penalty score, but they hold a discard of 4. Belgium with the 4, but a discard of 12. It is Ireland on that 6 who, well, they don't have a discard at the moment because they had 2 clears. They could lock it off right here, right now, sit back and watch what the others do. If they can get a clear here from Annie Boland as the number 3 in the lineup. Here with K Little Hero. Big moment. Of course, they've got the then advantage, even if they have a fence, of knowing there is another rider to come in the form of James Derwin. Bellamy, who was in the anchor slot on day 1, jumped to clear. She moved up into the number 3 slot on the second day, jumped to clear. Retains that 3rd slot today to try and bring it home for Ireland. There's plenty of permutations that see Ireland win this if they get a clear now, and then depending what happens with the 3 other teams. But you cannot do more than deliver 3 clears. And Ireland looking to try and defend this title, knowing that they've got 3 more fences here from the 3rd rider in their team. And suddenly Gary Marshall will know, well, it's up to James if he wants to ride, but there'll be no need because that is a clear, and Ireland are absolutely flying in the final. So they will finish on a score of 6. They can now just wait and see what happens. It could well be enough. It might not. It might be. We're going to find out very soon. Whatever happens at the end of the 3rd rider, Ireland can't win it until they see what happens. I'm just checking my facts here. Because they will have to wait till see what happens with the 4th riders. But let's see what happens now with the 3rd rider from Belgium. Only 2 penalties ahead, so they cannot afford a fence down to stay ahead of Ireland, and they are holding a 12 penalty discard. It is Ora de Schia riding Tiamo van Prinsveld. They do not have a fence in hand. These 2 brought into the team for today. So far, so good. But that is the fence that will drop them behind Ireland. So the Irish now, who started today in 4th, have moved their way up into second place. Guaranteed second place. That score of 8 pushes the team from Belgium on to 12 as a best potential outcome. To remind you, Ireland with 3 clears have locked in the 6. We know that the Netherlands cannot better an 8 penalty score, so the Dutch have already had to move behind Ireland. But Great Britain, still possible. It is still possible. The British team still on the 1 penalty from the opening 2 qualifying competitions. The discard they're holding is a 4, so whatever happens here with Maisie Allsop, they would add the 4 in at worst. That would push them obviously to 5, which would mean that they could still come and jump a clear with their final rider to win it. If the British team get a clear here with Maisie, then that is it. It's Great Britain's day, because the worst outcome for them would be 5. So, Maisie Allsop, Van de Visite, as the 3rd rider in the British team. Got brought into the team for the 2nd qualifying competition. And now, did she touch the back of the water? Nothing coming up. This course just gets trickier and trickier. Team will all be watching on from the side. Already this week we've seen things change at the final fence. When you think one thing might happen, another then does. She's just got 1 more fence left to go, and there we have it. The winning clear for Great Britain. Maisie Allsop, and Van de Visite has just won the Nations Cup title for the British here at the FEI Jumping Nations Cup of Youth for 2024. They cannot be beaten. The worst outcome for the British would be a total of 5 had they added the 4 in going forward. Ireland guaranteed 2nd, and all of this before we've even jumped the last horse and rider in the 3rd rotation. But that's the way this sport can work sometimes. Wow. Great Britain win. Ireland 2nd. It's just those scores, you know, they cannot be adjusted out of those positions. The podium is still very much up for grabs. So Kate Kerr may or may not jump, but either which way round, it won't make a difference to the team winning here today. Great Britain's 2nd in the children and winning in the ponies. Still, of course, the young riders and the juniors to come a little bit later on. But there's still, what have we got? Quite a few more horses, or I should say ponies, to jump. And this for a team that, of course, were leading coming into today, had the advantage over everybody, had an outright lead, the Dutch. They were 2nd here last year. I thought maybe it could be their year. But already now on a best potential score of 8 as Mini Voss starts. Riding here with Portier. And that again, you see, because of that big discard they got from Bethany, means that the fences fall and the scores count straight away. I'm pretty sure they have the second fence down. They've certainly had that down. And they've had time. So Miniboss on a score of 10 according to the system. So they move on to a best outcome now of 18, which, you know, that's such a shame. I mean, the Netherlands have gone so well up until today, and now they have fallen behind Great Britain, Ireland, Belgium, in danger of falling behind Sweden as well. So let's move into the final round of riders. The last rider from each of the teams, and that means we should go back to Italy. And Flavio Campanella. So what can the Italians do here? He didn't jump yesterday. We had a couple down and a couple of time penalties on the first day. So Italy, who started today in 8th and will most likely now finish in 7th with the elimination of the Swiss. I've said I've seen things change all day at the final fence, and on this occasion it changes again because it was all going clear, and then suddenly the last and 2 time penalties become 6 as a score. 70 overall for the Italians over the course of 3 days and 3 rounds of jumping. So that's the wrapped up totals for the team from Italy. Next to go will, I think, be the final rider for the Swiss, because I think they still want to jump despite the team unable to score. Victoria Shebakov will be up next. Thanks down Dreamer. Yeah, the top 2 positions are confirmed. The final place on the podium is still up for grabs, though. Belgium certainly obviously have it in their hands, but it'll be interesting to see what happens, because they could technically still fall behind the Netherlands. So here we go, Tungsten down Dreamer as the last up for Switzerland, the team that started in 7th, finishing sadly with the elimination in 8th. So in the end, 24, recovering from the stop of the first, finished the course, Victoria Shebrakov and Taka's Dreamer. So that for the Swiss, but now we move our attention to the team from Denmark. Could yet still finish ahead of Italy. Got a solid advantage, but sort of a little bit out on their own in 6th. No way to move up, and pretty safe from falling backwards, you would presume. So it is the last of the Danish riders, Selma Humbo-Dressler, riding here with Kulamon Coco. Jump clear and 4 in the 2 qualifiers. So far down to the combination, everything going to plan. Well, total of 8 come the end, and Selma there bringing the team to a conclusion on 56 as the last out for the Danish team. So, next we'll move on to Sweden, who are on a best potential outcome of 21. If they could finish on the 21, that could still give them a chance of moving ahead to the Netherlands, depending what happens. Let's wait and see. Just having a look, they could actually finish on the podium. If they jump to clear, depending on what happened with Belgium and the Netherlands, the Swedish team could find their way into 3rd, but that therefore puts a bit of pressure into this round because they really are relying on their 4th rider delivering. Victoria Jensen with Ineth. Jumped clear on day 1, but did have 4 in the 2nd of the qualifiers. Score of 4, as we know, will count. It moves the Swedish team on to 25. Eight at the end, with the last falling as well, so 29 as a total then for Team Sweden.
jumping penalties for Sweden's Victoria Jensen.
So that wraps it up for Sweden, 29, keeping them ahead of the likes of Denmark and Italy. Well, we know that the Irish have confirmed second place. It's done and locked in. Now, I think we're going to move straight on to Belgium, looking over there, because that looks like a red jacket, not a green jacket. Belgium, of course, have the opportunity to lock in a podium finish here. So they're holding a 12 penalty discard. That could certainly let the Netherlands off the hook a little bit and continue to potentially keep them on the podium. Belgium could find their way onto the podium. It is in their own hands with their final rider here. And this then is Robin Vermeer riding Crystal Sparkle van Begerveld.
But ladies and gentlemen, we were just testing you. We were just testing you if you were still awake. It's not Ireland.
Of course it's not Ireland. It's Robin Vermeer who's jumped clear on both days, hoping to land another clear and guarantee Belgium a place on the podium. I'm pretty sure we'll still see the last of the Dutch riders because with the big discard they've been holding on to, they would be at risk of falling behind Sweden.
Naar de prestatie van Robin Vermeer. Final round of the Belgian team with Crystal Sparkle van Begerveld.
Big round then for Belgium. Robin Vermeer. She could afford a fence and they would still be ahead of the Dutch. Been so assured in the way she's ridden over the course of these three qualifying and final rounds. Delivering another clear, and with it, the podium for Belgium. Congratulations to them. They will finish on that score of 12, and that is an unassailable podium for Belgium. So we now have one more rider to go for Great Britain and one more rider to go for the Netherlands, and despite the fact that the British cannot record, it is a case of their final combination. Kate Kerr and Cindy still having their round. I'm pretty sure they'd like it to be one penalty on the scoreboard at the end, not 5, if they can help it. So over to Kate and to Cindy as the last combination out. They've jumped for a time penalty on both days so far, but they've left the fences standing. Time does look a little bit more generous today. So, what are they able to do? Finish on a high, perhaps, for the British team. The third time the Brits have won this. Of course, this is off the back of Great Britain winning the gold medal at the European Championships this year as well. Full marks to these pony riders, and as well to Claire Whitaker, the chef de keep team manager for the ponies. A remarkable summer. The golden touch, because of course it was her children's team as well at the Europeans that took the gold. Just this final line to negotiate one more fence to wrap it up with a clear round for Great Britain. The winners here of the FEI Jumping Nations Cup Youth Final for the Ponies. It is a 1 penalty score. Bravo, Great Britain. Absolutely superb performance across their team here in Lille for the finals. So they do finish with that 1 penalty score. And that 1 penalty, to remind you, comes across 3 rounds of jumping. So a superb consistency from the team, and congratulations to all of the team riders and to Claire Whitaker as well. But there is still the Dutch. Of course, I mean, they had the advantage starting out today on that as the only, the single team on a clear, the only team that could have finished on 0. It was all in their own hands. Sadly, it really has gone against them. They know that at best now they can finish in 4th place. There's no way of climbing any higher. They've got 2 fences in hand with this over Sweden. They don't have 3 fences in hand. Now the last to go is going to be Liselott Koremans, who, like the remaining Dutch riders, has been having quite a brilliant run. I mean, clear in a single penalty, but it's hard to say that that is the way it'll go now after the way it hasn't worked out so far for some of their other riders. Fence after the water's gone down, 4 scored. As I said there, they have got a couple of fences in hand. Backing up on pace a bit coming into the combination. Just steadied up, found the stride, and on they went. Well, let's put the Netherlands onto a score of 22. On the clock, but 22 to finish it off, and as you can see, it means they finish in 4th, just off the podium today. So bad luck to the Netherlands, who of course were the runners-up here last year. So it is a case that still only 2 nations have won the pony title here at the FEI Jumping Nations Cup for Youth, because like they did in 2019 and 2022, in 2024 Great Britain have come out on top with Holly Gherkin, Sophia Rogers, Maisie Alsop and Kate Kerr here today. So congratulations to them. Also to Lucy Capper as well. She's played her role in the team while she's been here. So congratulations, Great Britain. A fabulous result to finish on that 1 penalty score. Ireland, Gary Marshall's lineup. Of course, the defending champions, the winners over all the league through the summer as well. But it's second today. And that is Shona Reed, Charlie Flynn, Annie Boland and James Derwin in the final. Also, let's remember Lily Tunney has been part of that team as well. Belgium in 3rd on the podium with Clementine Lux, Elsie Thiron, Oradishkia and Robin Vermeer. Also, Thibault Deval was part of that team as well over the course of the event, because of course, as I say, 5 riders in each team. It's 4 that jump each day, there's 3 that count each day, but they have been rotating and moving things around as they need to. But it is Great Britain that will take Pony Gold for the second time this summer. The Pony European Champions are now the winners of the FEI Jumping Youth Final for the Ponies as well. There are still 2 youth finals to come today, and that of course is the Young Riders and then the Juniors. The Young Riders will get underway at 1:45 here, Central European time, so in about an hour and a quarter, and then at 4 o'clock we'll start with the final of the Juniors. So looking forward to all of that. In the meantime, I'll let you enjoy the presentation of awards. Congratulations once again to the British team ahead of Ireland and Belgium in the pony final here for the FEI Jumping Nations Cup final for youth.
Prize giving, ladies and gentlemen. De prijsuitreiking van de FEI Jumping Nations Cup finale voor Ponies. Met het winnende team, our winning team, Team Great Britain. In second, Team Islands. And the third place to Team Belgium. Dames en heren, ladies and gentlemen, the prize giving of the 2024 FEI Jumping Nations Cup Pony Final here at Azelhof Horse Events. Het is een presentatie, het is de prijsuitreiking met een podium. We gaan dus van brons naar zilver naar goud. Ending in third place. Op een derde plaats geacht publiek. Het team met bondscoach Philippe Lacus en Clémentine Lux, Elise Thirion, Oude de Schrijver, Robin de Vermeijden en Thibaut de Wale. Team België! In second place, op een tweede plaats, aan de silver spot in this Nations Cup Final 2024. The team with chef d'équipe Gary Marshall and Shannon Rape, Charlie Flynn, Annie Boland, James Durbin and Lily Tunney. Team Islands. Maar de winnende equipe, the winning team of the 2024 FEI Jumping Nations Cup Pony Final here in Lier. With chef d'équipe Claire Whittaker, Holly Gergen, Sophia Rogers, Macy Alsop, Kate Kerr and Lucy Capper. Team Great Britain! Ladies and gentlemen, it is an FEI Jumping Nations Cup Youth Final. Can we kindly ask you all to please be upstanding for the national anthem of our winning country, the national anthem of Great Britain. Dames en heren, het is de finale van een landenprijs. Gaat u alle staan alsjeblieft voor de nationale hymne van het winnende land, de hymne van Groot-Brittannië. Please be upstanding and face the flag. God save the king. Groot-Brittannië, Great Britain, de champions. Het is een genoegen om de heer René Biardon te mogen uitnodigen. Mr. René Biardon stepping forward as FEI representative. Representative of the Fédération Équestre Internationale, and he is congratulating our podium. Belgium in third, Ireland in second, and Great Britain as a winning team in the 2024 FEI Jumping Nations Cup Pony Final here at Azelhof Forge Events. De heer René Biardon feliciteert ons podium als vertegenwoordiger van de FEI, als vertegenwoordiger van de Fédération Équestre Internationale. En overhandigt de trofee, de beautiful trophy for our winning team, Team Great Britain. Dan treden de leden van het organiserend comité naar voren. The members of the organizing committee are stepping forward, ladies and gentlemen, in the prize giving of the FEI Jumping Nations Cup Final for Ponies 2024. Mike, Maxime, and Lotte Haasbroek are with us, and they are congratulating an incredible podium. Belgium in third place, with Clémentine Lux, Elise Thirion, Oude de Schrijver en Robin Vermeijeren. Ireland in second with Shannon Rape, Charlie Flynn, Annie Boland, and James Derwin with our third man Lily Tammy. And het goud, the gold for Holly Gerken, for Sophia Rogers, Maisie Alsop and Kate Kerr with the fifth man Lucy Capper and their chef d'équipe Claire Whittaker. Team Groot-Brittannië op goud, team Ierland op zilver, team België op het brons. Met respectievelijke bondscoaches Claire Whittaker, met Gary Marshall and Philippe Lacus. What a podium! This is the moment we've been looking forward to, ladies and gentlemen, in the FEI Jumping Nations Cup Final for Ponies 2024. Onze leden van het organiserend comité en de vertegenwoordiger van de Fédération Équestre Internationale. Een prachtplaatje. And then it's time for the champagne shower. We're asking our second and third best placed team. We're asking Belgium and Ireland to go back to their horses in preparation for the lap of honor. And we're giving our champagne bottles to the winning team, Team Great Britain, with Holly Gergen, Sophia Rogers, Maisie Alsop, Kate Kerr and Lucy Capper, chef d'équipe Claire Whittaker, Team Groot-Brittannië, Team Great Britain. En dan is het tijd voor het champagne moment. There we go. Riders and alcohol, it's one of these holy combinations in equestrian sport, isn't it? Then we're going to back to their horses. We gaan terugkeren richting de paarden, richting de ponies. Want wat een podium, wat een finale van de landenprijs. Belgium in third place, België op het brons met Philippe Lacus als chef d'équipe. Clémentine Lux, Elise Thirion, Oude de Schrijver, Robin Vermeijeren en Thibaut de Waale. Ireland in second, with Saturn Rape with Charlie Flynn, Annie Boland, James Irwin and Lily Tunny with chef d'équipe Gary Marshall. But our winning team and leading their lap of honor, ladies and gentlemen, in the FEI Jumping Nations Cup Final for Ponies 2024 is a team with chef d'équipe Claire Whittaker, with Holly Gerken, Sophia Rogers, Maisie Alsop, Kate Kerr and Lucy Capper. Team Great Britain, one more beautiful picture, and then it's all yours. It's all yours. The lap of honor, ladies and gentlemen. De ronde van eer voor onze kampioenen. I think we're all set. So, Great Britain, off you go. Team Great Britain, as they conclude this FEI Jumping Nations Cup Final with the lap of honor. De ereronde voor Team Groot-Brittannië. Ladies and gentlemen, dames en heren, team Groot-Brittannië, team Great Britain. Second for Ireland. And the third for team Belgium. What a performance! Holly Gergen, Sophia Rogers, May Sels of Gate Girl, Lucy Kepper, Team Great Britain! En dat was het voor de finale, voor de ontknoping van de FEI Jumping Nations Cup Pony Final 2024. Daarmee laten we het doek vallen over de finale van de landenprijs voor ponies hier tijdens de FEI Jumping Nations Cup Youth Finals op het Aaslo Force Events 2024.